Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Tales of the Valiant CR Exposed. We haven't done this one in a while, and I thought I might go ahead and pick up another monster here and take a look at it. So what are we looking at here? Well, you saw the thumbnail. We're looking at the Mummy from Tales of the Valiant. My eye was kind of drawn to this one. I was just looking for a random monster, and I thought, okay, Mummy. This is a pretty standard monster that a lot of people use. Let's go ahead and take a look at it and see if the CR3 actually comes up properly. So we're going to go ahead and reset the tool here. And before we get into this, if you'd like to also use this tool, you can grab the tool for free or donate at the link in the description for my Ko-fi page, where you too can pick up this tool. Otherwise, let's get into the Mummy finally, now that the house cleaning is out of the way. So we have ourselves a CR3 Mummy here, and with that we're expecting all these highlighted areas. Unlike my 5th edition tool, the tool doesn't move. This is what we were expecting, and all of the other information here will move around depending on, various factors, as you may have seen before. So let's go ahead and throw in our modifiers for 3 strength, -1 dex, +3 constitution, -2 intelligence, 2 wisdom, and 1 charisma. Now, the question is, do we have any bonuses here? Well, we might see some proficiency saves that are going in here for +2 based on the attacks, but we can't see the attacks at the moment, so we're going to skip over those for the time being. Now, we are expecting 80 hit points. Now, don't worry about the adjusted hit points. These are currently working differently because we're waiting for some stuff to be adjusted automatically. But let's go ahead and take a look at some other things here. So at the moment, our dexterity is a -3, which means we need to add in +4 AC to get us up to the 13 to 15 AC that we expected to have. Now, the Mummy here has a natural AC of 13, even though we do have a -1 dex, so there's something extra to our Mummy that is causing this to happen. Now, after that, we can look at the resistances immunities. We'll come down to this little section here, and we have bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing from non-magical attacks. So we have resistance to that, which will trigger 2 things to happen here. We're having the item here of the creatures below CR8, which means we have resistances to just the standard weapons, but we also have 1 damage type, which I do believe works here. So we'll see what happens. If my hit points are a little off, then that means I have to adjust that either one of these 2 is going to proc and not both of them. This is actually going to be a good stress test for the tool here, and something I might have to update in the code. After that, we do have immunities to necrotic, charmed, frightened, paralysis, and the undead resilience, which is kind of funny that they added it in here instead of just listing it all out, which is a little silly that they didn't just create all this into the undead resilience section here. In any event, here we're going to add in immunities to necrotic, and then we also have immunities to poison. So we have that there, which now, instead of those 2 being removed, we now have this one here because we have 3 resistances and immunities together. And then we have ourselves some immunity conditions to look into having updated. So we're immune to charmed, and we also need frightened. And then we also need, I just knocked around my headphones. We need paralyzed, so that's going to be that. And then we have the undead resiliences here, so we also have immunities to exhaustion and the poisoned condition. Let's see here, exhaustion, we are immune, and what did I say? Poisoned. Okay. And now that we have all of our conditions set into place, we can see here that we now are losing roughly, 13 hit point adjustments right now. We're seeing 52 adjustments because we haven't put in the damage yet, but we'll see that in a minute here. Now that's everything from this section here. Let's move over to the right side, move past the Mummy Lord, and take a look at our bonus actions and actions here. So for our multi-attack, we have the Mummy makes 2 Rotting Fist attacks. If both attacks hit 1 creature that isn't a construct or undead, the target must succeed on a con save or be cursed with Mummy Rot. See the Mummy Rot sidebar. Let me see here. I will review that for a moment and then decide if this is going to be added in. Now, having reviewed the Mummy Rot here, this is something that triggers at the end of a long rest, and it also stops healing. Now, I believe, if I read it correctly, that it doesn't necessarily stop magical healing, so regular healing might be an issue. But beyond that, I guess we will kind of ignore Mummy Rot for the time being and see where we come up with this. So we do have 2 attacks here, and we're looking at +5 to hit, which is perfectly fine here. We've got our strength bonus of 5, and then we are going in for a 1d8 for our fist attack, which is going to work out to 7.5 because we have 1 odd number of dice here. And then we also have 7 or 2d6 necrotic damage to add into that. So we are going to go ahead and add this to this, giving us 14.5. And technically, because we have the Mummy Rot, we're going to go ahead and put in a single condition here, bringing us up to a total of 15 DPR. Now we are going to take that twice, and that is going to be our multi-attack for each round here. Now on top of that, we have the bonus action. The mummy glares at one creature it can see within 60 feet. That target must succeed on a DC 13 Wiz save or be frightened until the end of its next turn. If it fails by 5 or more, it can also paralyze for the same duration. Now this is an interesting take. If someone fails super low, then we're going to be seeing this extra little item come into play here. So I think this is going to come into play for this particular action right here. It's a long one, but I'm just going to summarize it. That basically a bonus action, which this is, paralyzes, or what was it? Paralyzes a creature for the same duration, then this will trigger. So I believe we're going to go ahead and add this in for an extra -10. So at the moment we're looking at negative 23% hit points. Now let's go ahead and add in all of our attacks per round, all of our damages. And because we're looking at every round being 2 fist attacks, that's all we need to worry about. So our damage is falling right in line with what we're expecting, 26 to 31, which is great. We're expecting a 4 to 5 attack bonus, which we have. We are expecting 13 AC on a 13 to 15 range, and we have 80 expected hit points of 61. So let's see here. What are our expected hit points for the mummy? Well, sure enough, it's 80. So I do believe they are taking into consideration what I had said here about the bonus action using this feature. And as we see here, now that the damage is in place, we've gotten rid of all these positive adjustments, because now that the damage is finally there, we are seeing the monster as it should be. So there we have it. This is a CR3 mummy that is properly balanced, especially with the condition here for the rot. We can count the mummy rot in here for the little bit of that it does do, even though it's stopping hit points. So, actually, I forgot one item. Actually, I forgot vulnerable to fire. So if you were screaming at me before, hey, you forgot something, well, I will add that in here. So we are counteracting something here. So now we're only down to minus 15%. Let's see. The adjusted hit points. The expected were 80, and the adjusted is 68. So maybe they're not actually considering in the dreadful glare here. Let's remove that. And since the dreadful glare isn't always considered to take the person out, and that the dreadful glare is only frightening, maybe that's going to bring us back up a little bit. Okay, so we're up a little bit here. What else is may or may not have been taken into consideration? We have all of these. We have the vulnerability, and we have a whole bunch of immunities here. Interesting. It looks like they may not have considered the resistances and immunities being combined together, and did not add in that. So, I mean, it's only 4 hit points, and it's not that big of a deal, and I would score this like a 95% accurate out of everything here. It's a CR3, regardless to say, but the tool and the way the rules go, since they're saying resistances or immunities, and there's 3 or more of them, this, I believe, would trigger this minus 5% here, and that's why we're seeing 76 instead of 80. So, in my opinion, the Mummy Lord, or not the Mummy Lord, but the Mummy in the Monster Vault book here is 95% accurate. Minus 5% because the missing condition, in my opinion. All right, so there you have it. Here is another, I'd say, properly balanced monster from Kobold Press's Tales of the Valiant Monster Vault book. Thank you so much for joining, and again, if you like what you see here and you'd like to use this tool to make your own Tales of the Valiant monsters, go into my description there, go to my Ko-fi page, donate or get it for free, totally up to you. Alright gang, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.